Hello, it's Mary, and welcome to another episode of Monday Morning Leadership Bites. And this is number two of a series that I just started, and it was something that I've been wanting to do. And first of all, I want to give thanks to everyone who commented, texted, or emailed me, called me, stopped me, and told me they've enjoyed the series or enjoyed last week's session, and they're looking forward to the series. I want to thank you for that. It was a great conversation to have. Again, you do so many things like this, you just don't know what the outcome is going to be. And I appreciate the fact that you guys gave me that input, and I want to continue to engage you. And next, I want to apologize for my voice. It's a little froggy. I recovered from a cold last week and went right into a workshop, a half-day workshop with a client. And between that and then also I was in Cincinnati with friends. We were just talking, laughing, and also to worshiping. And I stretched the voice a little bit more, but we're gonna just power on with it regardless, and hope that the voice holds out. So last week we broadly define leadership as art and science of motivating others to achieve a common goal. And there's a lot more to it and a lot more underneath that, and which we'll continue to explore. But that was the starting point for how we define leadership. And I know when I was younger, coming into my career, I looked at leaders as, well, that's easy. And I think from an outside perspective, we can sometimes view the external activities that are going on with a leader, because we don't really know what goes on to actually do with their job. But we see them sitting in meetings, and we see them talking with customers and golfing and going on trips with customers, and we think, well, geez, I can do that, or I can facilitate a meeting, or I can do that training, or whatever it might be, not realizing the work that goes behind it. And I know I've matured in my thought process of that, and now I look at people who are in leadership positions, and I think I really wouldn't want that job, because I know the work that entails. Talking to CEOs and the hours they put in and the things they miss out on because they're in those leadership positions. So leadership is actually a very heavy burden for a lot of people. It's not just sitting in meetings, but even that, sitting in meetings and not being productive often means that they're putting in long hours. It requires grit, tenacity, and perseverance. Those hours mean potentially coming in early to get work done. It potentially means staying late. Or if you're not staying late because you have a family gathering or other commitment to go to, you're taking work home with you. And you're continuing to working 1 or 2 more hours at the end of the day in order to get things done. It also means from a time standpoint, a lot of leaders don't take their full vacation that's allotted to them. Research shows 1 to 2 weeks of unused vacation by most leaders. And when they are on vacations, they're accessible. They take their laptops with them. They take their work phone with them. They are still attending and working. They're not really unplugged oftentimes, and which also can become a burden onto the family because they're not fully there and engaged for the family. So leadership is a lot more than just what we think from an outside perspective. And if you're in a position of leadership, you know this. Or if you are aspiring to it, understand that it's more to it than that. So really the why become a leader? So if it's all this work and all this heartache and hardship, then why become a leader? And based on people I know and myself and just what I've seen, there are 6 basic reasons why people become leaders. And these are not the only reasons. And there could be multiple reasons, but what I've seen already, I wanted to share with you those 6 basic reasons. Number 1 is, and these are not necessarily in order. They're not a list of here's number 1, number 2. These are just 6 reasons I found. So take them as that, and you might have more than one of these reasons that you are in a leader or want to become a leader. Number 1 is influence. So becoming a leader provides you with a certain title or authority or influence you might have over a group of people or over a problem or within a company. So some people might decide that being able to run the show their own way, they will become a leader because of that influence. Number 2 is because of personal development or a career change. You've gotten so far within your career, and now it's time to go the next step, so you will step up into a leadership position or a supervisory position. Number three could be that you want to solve a problem. So there's something wrong, and maybe you've tried to elevate it as an individual contributor, but it's not getting solved. So you step into a role in which you're going to now solve that problem. And it could be temporary. It could be I step temporarily into something in order to solve the problem, and then I might go back to being an individual contributor. So that could be a temporary situation versus a long-term situation. Although you might end up saying, hey, I stay there because not even though it's a problem solved, there's other problems to be solved after that. Closely related to that is the purpose-driven leader. And the purpose-driven reason for becoming a leader is like a problem, but there's something bigger than yourself. You feel like you want to make a change, you want to make an impact, and therefore you will then rally others around you because of that purpose. So people will follow you, vote for you, go alongside with you because of the purpose, because they believe in the change that's being made, and therefore they come alongside you with that. And I make the distinction between purpose and problem because problem oftentimes is temporary versus purpose ends up being something that's a little more long-term, more outreaching beyond just the problem itself. Next is the multiplier. The multiplier reason is I want to get other people around me that are like-minded, that are smart, that have similar interests. And in that sense, I'm not so much leading the group as I am just a part of the discussion. But I call the group together, come to the table, come in the room, let's talk about knowledge that I have, knowledge that you have, and see where it can take us. It tends to be a little bit more visionary. There's not a problem to be solved. It's just that let's just see what happens if we all come together and have a discussion. So they take on the role more of a lead facilitator than they are as a leader. And then number 6 reason why people become is money. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. For your family or for your lifestyle or for the next level of what you need to do, becoming a leader sometimes means making more money. I know people who are in positions where they're already doing the work of a manager, but they're not getting paid for it. So it's like, why not step into it? What are you afraid of? And for some people, it becomes them the out. They like being the individual contributor. But for some people, like, hey, why not? Why not get paid for all the work I'm already doing? So those are the 6 basic reasons, not the only ones. And I want to hear from you. What are some of your reasons for either wanting to become a leader, or maybe some of the reasons you are a leader today, or why you've been a leader in the past? Please make a comment below, and I want to hear from you on this topic of the why. Are there other whys that you think are significant that we should talk about or explore? And I do appreciate all the likes and sharing. So please, if this is a video that you think is something that you wouldn't mind, I appreciate the likes and I appreciate you sharing it along with your fan base, people that you know. So thank you for listening to this episode of Leadership Bites, and I'll see you next Monday.